For Yuki Tsunoda, the 2025 Formula One season was supposed to be the opportunity of a lifetime. The Japanese driver had spent 4 full seasons at Racing Bulls, learning his craft and waiting patiently for his chance at the senior Red Bull team. When that call finally came, it seemed like all his hard work had paid off. After years of development at Red Bull's junior team, he was finally promoted to the senior Red Bull racing seat, alongside 4-time world champion Max Verstappen. It was his chance to prove that he belonged at the very front of the grid. But as the season draws to a close, it appears that this dream opportunity has turned into a nightmare. The latest reports and analysis from within the paddock suggest that Tsunoda's time at Red Bull is coming to an end, and his options for 2026 are disappearing fast. To understand just how significant this opportunity was, we need to look at Tsunoda's journey. He joined the Red Bull Junior program in 2021, making his Formula One debut with AlphaTauri that same year. Over the following seasons, he showed flashes of speed and aggression, but also struggled with consistency and temperament. Still, Red Bull kept faith in him, believing that with time and experience, he could develop into a driver worthy of the senior team. When Liam Lawson was dropped from Red Bull after just 2 race weekends early in 2025, Tsunoda was given the seat he had been working towards for years. The writing, many believe, has been on the wall for some time. Throughout the 2025 season, the performance gap between Tsunoda and Verstappen has been stark. After 21 rounds, Tsunoda has scored just 28 points, while Verstappen has amassed 341. That 313-point deficit is the largest between any 2 teammates on the entire grid. While no one expected Tsunoda to beat a driver of Verstappen's caliber, the sheer size of the gap has been alarming. At the recent Brazilian Grand Prix, the difference was painfully illustrated when Tsunoda finished last on track. As former Red Bull driver Robert Dornbos commented on the Pit Talk podcast, "That's just painful. What do you think the vibe is in the debrief room? Might as well skip the debrief." This underperformance has led to a situation where Tsunoda's future is now in serious doubt. According to Dornbos, it's not a matter of if Tsunoda will leave Red Bull, but when. "We can guarantee that Yuki doesn't get the seat next year," he stated bluntly. "That's just a positive that's going to happen." The primary reason for this certainty is the fundamental purpose of the Red Bull driver program. The junior team, Racing Bulls, exists to develop young talent for the senior team. Drivers are meant to progress upwards, not sideways or backwards. A demotion for Tsunoda back to Racing Bulls, while technically possible, would go against the entire philosophy of the program. As Dornbos explained, "They won't take him back at Racing Bulls because that doesn't make sense. Racing Bulls is all about giving young talent wings and taking them to the future." The question of whether Tsunoda could return to Racing Bulls has been a subject of debate. On paper, it seems like a logical solution. If he is not good enough for the senior team, why not send him back to the junior team where he performed reasonably well? However, the reality of the Red Bull system makes this highly unlikely. Racing Bulls has a clear mission to prepare young drivers for promotion to Red Bull Racing. Taking back a driver who has already been promoted and failed would send the wrong message to the entire junior program. It would suggest that Racing Bulls is not just a stepping stone, but also a place for recycling drivers who did not make it at the top level. This would undermine the team's purpose and potentially discourage future young talents from joining the program. If a return to Racing Bulls is off the table, Tsunoda's options within the Red Bull family are non-existent. The team is reportedly looking to promote Isaac Hajar to the senior Red Bull seat, while Liam Lawson and the highly rated junior Arvid Lindblad are the front-runners for the two Racing Bulls seats. This leaves Tsunoda as the odd man out. The decision has been delayed officially to maintain stability while Red Bull fights for second place in the Constructors' Championship. But many insiders believe the choice has already been made behind closed doors. The situation is a harsh reminder of the ruthless nature of the Red Bull system. While new team principal Laurent Mekies is said to be struggling with the decision and reportedly has a better relationship with Tsunoda than his predecessor Christian Horner did, the performance data is hard to ignore. Red Bull is reportedly unimpressed with Tsunoda's technical feedback and racecraft, issues that have plagued him throughout his F1 career. The team needs a driver who can consistently score big points and support Verstappen's championship campaigns, and Tsunoda has not shown that he can be that driver. With the door at Red Bull and Racing Bulls seemingly closed, Tsunoda's hopes have turned to external options, but those too are quickly vanishing. A seat at Aston Martin was considered a possibility, given that Honda, Tsunoda's longtime backer, will be supplying their engines from 2026. However, Aston Martin has already announced Jack Crawford as their reserve driver for next season, effectively closing that door. Furthermore, Honda has indicated that their support for Tsunoda has its limits. They have reportedly stated that they have done enough to get his career to this point, and that he now has to prove himself on his own merit. Without the powerful backing of Honda, Tsunoda's position in the F1 driver market is significantly weakened. Racing Bulls team principal Alan Perman has spoken about wanting experience in his lineup for 2026, which could theoretically work in Tsunoda's favor. However, this is outweighed by several factors. First, Liam Lawson has shown a significant upturn in form since his demotion from Red Bull, proving that he can be competitive and consistent. Second, Arvid Lindblad, despite being only 18 years old and having made some mistakes in Formula 2, is highly rated by Red Bull advisor Helmut Marko, who is keen to fast-track him into Formula 1. Third, and perhaps most importantly, Tsunoda's poor results in 2025 have damaged his reputation within the Red Bull organization. It is difficult to argue for experience when that experience has not translated into results. This leaves Tsunoda in a precarious position. With all other seats on the 2026 grid confirmed, his only remaining hope in Formula 1 might be a reserve driver role, a significant step down from a race seat at a top team. The other option, frequently mentioned in these situations, is a move to another motorsport category. Robert Dornbos predicts that the next option is IndyCar for Yuki. While this would allow him to continue his professional racing career, it is a path from which few drivers ever return to Formula 1. History has shown that a move to American single-seater racing is often a one-way ticket, effectively ending any realistic chance of an F1 comeback. For Yuki Tsunoda, the dream of becoming a top Formula 1 driver appears to be fading. His promotion to Red Bull Racing was the ultimate test, and based on his performance in 2025, it is a test he has failed to pass. While no official announcement has been made, the combination of his on-track results, the logic of the Red Bull Junior program, and the dwindling options elsewhere all point to the same conclusion. Yuki Tsunoda will almost certainly not be on the Formula 1 grid in 2026. Whether he can find a way back in the future remains to be seen. But for now, the bad news seems all but inevitable. What do you think? Does Yuki Tsunoda deserve another chance in Formula 1? Or is it time for Red Bull to move on to their next generation of young talent? Let us know your thoughts in the comments.